Hi, welcome to the Empowered Woman Podcast. This is a place for you to learn from inspiring women how to empower yourself through self-love. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is martaspirk, and I'm your host, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. On this episode, I talk about how important it is to learn to show your self-love and celebrate who you are in difficult times and amidst your insecurities and imperfections. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? I also share more about our latest Empowered Woman workshop and our upcoming one this month. Let's get right to it. Hey, did you miss the latest workshop, or are you not in Colorado and can't attend? I've got you covered. Now you can watch the replays of the Empowered Woman workshops just by going to martaspirk.thinkific.com or check out the direct link in the show notes. I can't wait for you to check it out. Have you ever watched the show The Dr. Pimple Popper? It's one that's become pretty famous. I forget which channel it's on, but we've been watching it on Hulu. And if you're squeamish, it's probably not the best thing for you. But basically, it's this dermatologist that takes people in her office and does these procedures in her office with local anesthetics, and she pops these huge cysts and removes these lipomas, which are like big blobs of fat that people's bodies produce out of nowhere for no reason. It's just some crazy stuff to watch. But besides how intriguing it is and gross, one of the things that really calls my attention is the stories of people that have lived with these things in their bodies for years. They've gone to several doctors, and nobody seems to find a solution or a diagnosis. And they just say, yeah, it's benign, but there's nothing you can do about it, so just deal with it. And then they decide to go on the show, and sure enough, she removes it. Usually people from out of town. I think she's in California. And so people fly from all over the United States. Some people fly from out of the country to go have these procedures done. And it's really sad and heartbreaking to hear those people's stories saying, I've been covering up my entire life. People make fun of me. You have moms saying that now that their kids are growing, the little kids make fun of her when she goes to school, when she goes to the playground, and say, your mom's weird or whatever. And it's just really, really hard because, and this is what draws me to this. It's because even if you don't have a condition that is so in your face like these people, it's already hard enough for you to come to terms with your body and with just finding confidence in general. And then when you have something like this, like a huge cyst in your face or, in your arm, something that's hard to hide, it really adds to insecurities. And we were watching a show a couple days ago, and one of the ladies that had one of these things in her body said that she was afraid of, showing it to her boyfriend, and that she didn't really want to take her clothes off in front of him. And he would tell her, but I love you anyways. It doesn't matter. And then she would say, but I don't love me. And that's what matters. And that really struck a chord with me, obviously, because it goes along with everything that I say. People can jump up and down and say they love you to the moon and back and recognize your efforts. And most times we look for that to fuel our fire and to really keep going. But at the end of the day, if you don't learn to really love and accept yourself, none of that will matter, because you're not with people all day long. You're with yourself all day long. So if you don't learn to show yourself love and recognize your own self amidst your imperfections, then none of it will matter, because everything will fade. And even the joy of your own achievements will end up fading. So living from one achievement to the other is not a great idea either, because you're always seeking for that high and that next thing to feel good about yourself, whereas you should learn to feel good about yourself as you are right now. Imperfections, with the mom guilt, right? With just insecurities and knowing that you're not a perfect person and that you mess up and that you can't please everybody. And what's been so interesting is that learning more about my personality type and learning that I tend to seek for external validation has really helped me bring this message of self-love to light. And it's made me understand that most people struggle with this, regardless of their personality type. But I feel like for me, because it's probably more exacerbated than most people, it's harder. But at the same time, because I'm trying, and I am effectively working on this, it gives me this authority to help women that struggle with this. And the reason why I am telling this story, obviously, is because this is what I believe in, that we need to find a way of showing ourselves love. And of course, people with these conditions, it makes it a lot hard. But I feel like trying to find a solution and not just stuffing that in and, even going to a TV show to have help is a way of showing yourself love. And sure enough, February, Valentine's month, right? And this is exactly what I want to be talking about all month long and what the focus of this month's workshop is going to be. So let me talk to you a little bit about the last workshop. It went so amazing. And one of the things that I've been saying is that it's not that it was better than the last one. It was just different because it was a different topic. It was different women. We were in a different room, same venue, but different room, which allowed for more interactive experience. And what I've loved about these events is that I've been getting feedback from people and even some suggestions. And the suggestions have been amazing. Because last time, one of the ladies said, I would have loved to be able to ask the panelists questions. So maybe you could open some time for Q&A. And so I did that. And I told the ladies, even if you don't have a question, but you just want to acknowledge one of the speakers and say, that one sentence that you said was amazing and it really touched me, or the one example that you gave. And this is exactly what happened. Everybody had a chance to talk and voice their opinion. It was just so amazing. And what was beautiful was that all the women that came there said that they were touched by me sending them a private invitation, which sometimes it feels a little awkward, especially because of my network marketing past. I don't want to bug people, but it just feels so different, not only because this is my soul is doing in-person events and I know the value that there is in it, so I really, really believe in it, but also because I believe that it's important to get out of our comfort zones and to do things that we're kind of afraid of doing. And it's just different, right? Inviting someone to be in person and to feel that energy. And it's just been amazing. And lots of the women said, I came for you because I love your energy. And I know how amazing it is to do these events in person. And I just can't wait for this to grow. I know I'm taking it slow because lots of people say, you need to do these in the evening or on the weekend so more people can come. But at the same time, I'm doing it in the mornings while my kids are in school because it's convenient for me. And I want it to be small. Another thing that people have complimented the events on has been how intimate it is. That you can go to personal development events like Rachel Hollis's Rise conference and all these other things that are huge, that are amazing. You get a lot of value, but it's big. So you don't get that contact with the speakers. And this is something that I've been able to create with this. And I'm very, very proud. And I know it will grow. I know eventually it'll be big. I know eventually it'll take me out of state. And I'll be able to bring people from out of state into Colorado to speak as well. But I'm just savoring every single moment and literally practicing what I preach because I'm always talking about gratitude and being content and satisfied and appreciating the now. And so I'm just loving this. I am loving, loving, loving this. And one other thing is that I've been recording the workshops. I never did anything with the first recording, but now I made all the recordings available on a platform. And if you didn't attend the workshop because you're out of town or because of scheduling conflicts, you can actually watch the workshop. So I will put the link for you in the show notes. And you can go, or you can just go to martaspirk.thinkific.com. And that's where all the videos are. And you can watch them. And what was interesting is that a couple of the ladies that weren't able to attend, they did buy their tickets and weren't able to attend. They watched the videos in the comfort of their homes, and they still got a lot out of it. And they were like, I loved all the action steps, all the value that I got, and you're doing some amazing things. So just keep going. And it just, filled my heart. And I even shared this last week. I figure it's appropriate for me to share it here. I shared this on social media that after I came off of the high of the workshop and I was so excited, I felt a little sad. And it's just, everything I've talked about, the highs and lows, and because the joys of achievements are going to fade. You can't ride that one moment and that one experience forever. You have to find joy in who you are eventually, right? And this is exactly what I experienced. And I just love that everything I talk about is because I'm living it. And so I spent a whole day in court, a couple days after the weekend, following the event. And it was an entire afternoon talking about custody. So as I'm there interpreting and helping these families figure these things out to spend more time with their kids, I'm thinking, and what am I doing? My kids are in school. I could spend as much time as I want with them. But here I am working on interpreting or working with my coaching, which are two things that really light me up. And I just felt ungrateful. I felt guilty. And it's just really a reminder for you and for me that I'm still a person, regardless of the achievements, regardless of people looking at me and thinking you're a triplet mom and you do all the things. I still struggle, but what I am committed to do is to recognize myself within the process and celebrate myself even through my struggles, even through my insecurities and imperfections. And this is what I encourage you to do as well. And one other thing too that I have been understanding, especially as I visit my past and build gratitude and forgiveness for the people in my life, for my parents, for all the caretakers that I've had and people that I didn't agree with and thought that I would do a much better job once I was a caretaker. I've been understanding that there are things that you cannot control. Even if you have the best intentions in mind, your kids will probably develop some kind of trauma or some kind of resentment and animosity towards you, even if you didn't do anything intentional, because that's just how humans process information. We're still dealing with this as adults. Somebody says something to us. We take it personally. That was not their intention. And then it ruins our entire day when it could be our choice to just let it go and to just give them the benefit of the doubt, And this is going to happen with our kids too. And we have to give ourselves a break and give ourselves the grace that we can't control their feelings, but we can control our feelings and teach them to know better, once they're adults. And they can do the same process and go back and forgive us for the things that we did wrong because we didn't know any better or because we weren't aware. You know what I mean? I really believe in the power of this forgiveness for our past and forgiveness for ourselves as we're doing the best we can as moms. And another thing too that I just remembered is that one of the ladies that was here in the podcast, it was over a year ago, Amber Bouzouki. She is a personal trainer and she has an amazing account on Instagram called Biceps After Babies. And I was on her podcast. She has a podcast called Biceps After Babies Radio. And I talked about just this, mom guilt and wanting to do something else outside of motherhood and feeling bad and having people judge me. And she shared me a couple screenshots of a lady that is pregnant and listened to my interview on her podcast and said I was just crying on my way to work because I've been feeling so guilty. The baby hasn't even come and I'm already afraid of how my life will change and I don't want to lose who I am. I don't want to lose myself. And these are all legitimate fears. These are all legitimate feelings. And there's nothing wrong with them. And having somebody that can just tell you there's nothing wrong with the way that you're feeling, just feel those feelings and find a way to rise above and keep going with your life and create gratitude for the things that you have, it makes all the difference. So I'm just really grateful that speaking my mind has helped me connect with so many women to help them feel better about themselves, because this is essentially what I have been doing this entire time, is helping myself feel better about myself. And this is what I want to bring to you. And on that note, let me talk to you about the next workshop. So February 26th, here in Denver, same venue, starting at 10:30 a.m., we're going to have the next Empowered Woman workshop. The name of the workshop is Show Yourself Love. So fitting for the season. And it's got everything to do with understanding how to show yourself love throughout life and through different relationships. So I'm going to have a co-parenting specialist, Sandrine Perradin. She's actually a specialist in divorce and friendly divorces, so keeping good terms with your ex and having good terms with co-parenting. So super excited to talk about that and how important it is to take care of yourself in this process, right? And how that is going to be huge for developing a good relationship in that situation. Then I'm going to have Janelle Lene. She's actually going to be on the podcast in a couple weeks. She is a confidence coach, and she will be talking about making meaningful female friendships, and again, how to nurture yourself so that you can make those female friendships. So it's going to be all across the board relationships, but always filling our cup first. Then I'm going to have Tracy Dixon. She was here a couple episodes ago, and so excited to have her on at the workshop, and she'll be talking about making meaningful relationships in the workplace and just all across the board. Her marriage, which is something that she shared on our episode together too. It'll be such an amazing gift to have her there. And finally, I will also have a sleep consultant. She's actually a sleep guru and early motherhood specialist, Rochelle Gershkovich. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, but she is amazing. She is a real reference here in Colorado for doulas and nannies and helping women with newborns. And so she'll be talking about how important it is for moms to fill their cups, especially in those early stages. So it's going to be amazing. If you're in the area, don't miss it, okay? I will leave links in the show notes, but basically just go to martaspirk.com and you'll find more information. And last but not least, I was asked to comment on the Super Bowl performance. There was so much controversy on the internet, and I honestly couldn't believe it because I loved the show. But lots of people asked me, so what is your opinion? And especially people that didn't really care for it and were concerned about what are we teaching our girls, thinking that they need, to sexualize their bodies to gain attention or to be called empowered. And basically, I just want to share my views on this, and especially taking into consideration a few points and where my opinion comes from. Okay, and opinions are so personal, and I've really loved this platform because it's okay to agree to disagree. And this is even something that Tracy said on her interview here on the show, talking about how she handles people that call in the radio station that don't agree with her, or even how she and the other hosts don't agree most times, and that's okay. You don't have to agree on everything, right? But all right, back to the Super Bowl performance. I was just in love because, one, I'm Latina, right? So I'm from Brazil. I have grown up seeing ladies and hearing music that talk about shaking your booty, and it's just part of the culture, right? And I grew up listening to those two beautiful ladies, right? And dancing to their music, and they just blew up when I was in my teens. And so I have loved them as performers. I have had several of their albums, and I know most of their songs. And second, the type of dance, the Latino dance, and different genres that they presented, they are sensual, right? But it's just art. That's how I see it. And then when you think about, sex and how taboo it is, and how it's become taboo because we've been trying to hide it, right? And so then that's when kind of like a rebellious attitude comes into play, is that we don't talk about this, so let's just do it openly. I feel like there's a lot of that too, is that, we're not supposed to be talking about it, but then you get kids going out and doing stuff anyways, especially because you're not talking about it. And this is even something that my husband and I have been talking about, that he even has been listening to NPR radio and hearing specialists talk about these kinds of things, that parents don't talk about this, and so kids find other ways of finding out this information, sex and your genitals and stuff like that. So might as well have these conversations. And of course, my kids are too young for that. But even the wordage that you use, or, your reaction to when they're touching themselves or when they're in the tub and stuff like that, like all of this affects it. And by no means am I perfect or do I know exactly what to do, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of taboo around sex. And especially after getting married, I have learned, and growing up in church too, I have learned that there's nothing wrong about that. And even Autumn Calabrese talked about this in our interview here on the show. She said, the human body is a human body. We all have it. So what's the big deal? So it's just, different opinions. I really, really enjoyed the show. I thought it was brilliantly constructed in so many different ways. And you can talk about the costumes, but you can talk about other performances and Super Bowl performances where people were doing similar things, shaking their booty, taking their shirts off, you know? This is the world that we live in. Maybe in the 50s, this would have been outrageous, but 2020, I didn't think it was that bad. So there's that. Thanks so much for tuning in today. What did you think of this episode? Share your thoughts about the Super Bowl with me or on how to show yourself love. And don't forget to watch the replay of the workshops or come see me in person February 26th in downtown Denver. All the links are in the show notes. Until next time, bye.